One error is to say, my way is the only way. Another error is to say, each way is equivalent. Let's discuss what that might mean. Taking the former uh, instance, we see that a universal, perennial characteristic of us people is that we are liable to take whatever it is that we are doing and place it at the pinnacle of existence, especially if we have pursued something and accomplished something. So, for example, let's say that I personally am a musician. It might be that in my mind, music is really the apex of human accomplishment. Let's say that I'm a business person. It might be that in my mind, business is the acme of, meaning also the pinnacle of what there is to do in life. It might be that I'm an intellectual, same thing, right? Meaning, if I were to spell out my implicit thoughts, it would be something like that. And it's not to pick those things out, fill in the blank, anything. What it is that I do is really, when it comes down to it, let's be honest, the good stuff. It's really kind of the superior path, and really the most superior path, and the sole truly superior path. And yeah, other people do different things, but that's kind of different, and it's really nothing like what I'm doing. Right? I'm really on the sole path of truth and goodness, right? The sole path of superiority. Everybody else should be in other fields should be underneath me if they were to start doing what I do, right? And they're not even doing that. So we see that this is obviously an additional consequence of our natural self centeredness and self idolatry, meaning making an absolute. We can also say self absolutization, making an absolute of our life and the elements of our life. Yeah, there's a big world out there, but really the main kind of place is my nation. And in my nation, it's a big nation. There's a lot of cities, but the most important city is my city. And there's a lot of streets in that city, and they're all, they have something, but really the street that I'm on is the best street. And on this street, yeah, there's a lot of homes and they have their own things, but my home is the best home if I'm lucky enough to have a home. And in my home, it's my room that's the best room. My other family members, we get the idea. It all narrows down to us, and it comes down to us. Wherever we start off, comes right back to me. So here, that would be an example of doing that. Whatever it is that I'm doing, it comes right back to me. That's one mistake. It's a mistake because it's not true, as we might get to. And the second mistake would be that a person says, actually, see, I recognize that, and I don't want to be self centered. So I will say, everything is equal. Uh, Excellence is equal everywhere, or it's not even anything that ought to be discussed. Everybody is on a path to Rome, so to say. Everybody is on a path to excellence. That is also an error because it is also not true. So, what does seem to be true? What seems to be true is that just as, to use that uh, phrase, paths, all roads lead to Rome, many roads do in fact lead to Rome, but not all roads lead to Rome. So if I'm on a road going to Rome and it really is going to Rome, then that's good for me if I want to go to Rome. And then if somebody else wants to go to Rome and they're on a different road and it's also going to Rome, good for them as well because they'll get there as well. Maybe longer, shorter, but they'll get there if they keep going and they have the opportunity. However, not all roads lead to Rome and many don't. And in fact, in reality, most most roads do not, because most roads in the world are not even in Italy and such. But just to for that expression, right? So such as to say that there are many paths of excellence. There are many paths that can conduce to the potentiation of our latent potential, that can help make us excellent, that can help bring out and develop strong character traits that can call on our deeper human qualities, whether it's intelligence, bravery, creativity, and so on. There's many such roads. That's just true. It's just false to say that there's only one such path, right? That it is the path of this profession or it's the path of this interest. And so on. There's many such paths, but not all paths do that. And for each and every real path, there's probably, obviously, there's no statistics available, but there's however many thousands, maybe tens of thousands, maybe millions of bogus roads that do not lead to anywhere good. Why? Because we have our tendencies as well. Right? Aside from any aspiration that I may have, aside from any constructive side that I may have, I also have a whole bunch of laziness, and I also have a whole bunch of that self idolatry and a willingness to lie and to deceive in order to facilitate it at the lowest possible cost. So, certainly, most of us, it would seem, naturally are not on roads that can lead to our highest good, right? On a road that involves discipline, on a road that involves or demands courage, on a road that demands creativity and the consummation of our human nature. Certainly, it's not correct to say, oh, everybody's on that road. Everybody's not on that road. But at the same time, enough people are to where it is erroneous to say that my road is the only road to Rome. That would be stemming from that self-centeredness. So it would seem that a synthesis, and a true one, most importantly, would be that it may be, and hopefully it is the case, that I, whoever it is that I am doing something good for myself. I'm on a path that is genuinely productive and not necessarily, because it's measurable in some kind of quantity like money earned. It's productive in the sense of progressing myself in a genuine way as a person. And then if the accompaniments of that are measurable, for example, um, profit, or for example, fame or something, that great. But the main thing would seem to be the real growth of ourself, of our skill, of our abilities. If somebody's genuinely uh, improving themselves, is sticking to something, hopefully I'm on some such path. Right? With that said, that's not the only path, and I need to train myself, or it would be helpful to train myself to recognize all excellence wherever it is found. Not only is, just to pick random things, not only is, say, music great, but art is also great. And technology can also be great. And science can also be great. And business can also be great. And using our mind in different ways can also be great. And raising a family can also be great. There's so many great paths that are excellent, that demand excellence, and that if a person stays true, can lead that person to his or her maturation and true improvement. Many, many such paths, but not all paths. And many more paths than there are that are valid are invalid because they do not lead a person upward and onward, but they lead in a circle or they don't go anywhere. It's a pseudo path. It's simply my self deceit, calculated to facilitate that self idolatry, that pride. And those are not real paths. And it's just as important to recognize that so that we can avoid them and perhaps help our family members or friends to avoid them as well. So, those are some thoughts concerning the errors of saying my way or the highway, and the other error of saying all ways are the same. Thank you for listening.